Oh, take that. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was defending humanity against the evil virtual reality world.
Comic Tropes. Comic Tropes.
Bills, bills, bills. What is the deal? Oh, hi. You caught me catching my bills from the mail. What do you think of my new look? Red underpants outside of regular pants. Oh, hi! You've caught me mining for an infinity gem. I'm just so excited about the upcoming Avengers Infinity War. You know what? The heck with this stuff. It seems like a good time to review an Avengers comic. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Well, here I am in beautiful Hong Kong, a concrete jungle where dreams are made of. I'm pretty sure that's their tagline. Oh, hi. You caught me stocking up on Star Wars soup. Speaking of terrible Star Wars ideas, how about the time Han Solo couldn't get his money out of the bank? Bitty bitty. Oh, hi. You caught me ruminating on the impermanent and temporary nature of everything. Nothing lasts forever. Speaking of street-level philosophizing, let's talk about Harvey Picar. Oh, hi! You caught me doing a drug. Speaking of drugs, let's talk about the superheroes who got their powers from illegal drugs. Cloak and Dagger. Oh, hi! You got me enjoying a nice red, white, and berry. Smirnoff? The communists are coming. Oh, hi! You caught me creating an amazing meal. I'm no great chef, but you know who was? Anthony Bourdain. Let's talk about his comics today. Oh, hi! You caught me learning the alphabet. Speaking of letters, let's talk about the origins of comic book lettering. Oh, hi! You caught me judging community plants. Speaking of judging things, let's talk about 90s superhero costumes. Oh, hi! You caught me lusting after G.I. Joe. Speaking of G.I. Joe, let's review that this week. Oh, hi! You caught me hiding under the docks. Speaking of being a recluse, let's talk about Steve Ditko. Oh, hi! You caught me playing Nintendo at Stargazer Comics in Tacoma, the home of vintage toys, video games, back issues, modern issues, and so much more. Hey, speaking of old school Nintendo, let's talk about licensed comics today. Oh, hi! You caught me protecting my neighborhood from werewolves. You know, speaking of wolfmen, let's talk about Marv Wolfman. Oh, hi! You caught me enjoying myself in Canada. Speaking of incredible lands, let's talk about Gregland. Oh, hi! You caught me looking at records. Speaking of records, let's talk about records. I just miss you so much. And, oh, hi! You caught me mourning a loved one. Speaking of that, let's talk about Kraven's Last Hunt. Oh, hi! You caught me gnawing on raw meat. Speaking of acting like a barbarian, let's talk about Gru the Wanderer. Damn it! Oh, hi! You caught me playing a lovely game of Monopoly. Speaking of monopolies, let's talk about that this week. Oh, hi! You caught me texting while driving. Speaking of stupid ideas, let's talk about Golden Age hero Mr. Whiskers. Oh, hi! You caught me checking out movies at Blockbuster Video. Speaking of things that were popular in the 90s, let's talk about Venom. Oh, hi. I'm Uatu the Watcher, and you caught me spying on a girl's locker room thousands of miles away. Speaking of me spying on things, let's talk about my comic book, What If? Dorsey's pants clung wetly to legs as thin as broomsticks, and Dorsey's head was horribly slumped as if it had been caved in the back and consequently pushed up at the front. Oh, hi! You caught me reading to the little one. Speaking of a mix of wholesome and horror, let's talk about Archie horror comics. Ugh. Oh, hi! You caught me picking up dog crap. Speaking of dogs, let's talk about Dylan Dog. Oh, hi! I'm ready for you this time. Let's talk about Justice League. Oh, hi! You caught me engaging in the purge. Speaking of purging, I have some bad comics that I need to get out of my system. Let's talk about those. This is just one of the worst promotional comics I've ever seen. Oh, hi! You caught me reviewing last week's promotional comics. Speaking of metatextual commentary, let's talk about Planetary this week. Oh, hi! You caught me dying. Speaking of dying, let's talk about death and resurrection in comics. I told you to leave the water heater alone, Infotron. Oh, hi! You caught me punishing my robot Infotron. Speaking of bad robots, let's talk about the comic Scud the Disposable Assassin. Don't you ever do that again. Oh, hi! You caught me spinning. Speaking of spinning, let's talk about spin-off characters. Oh, hi! You caught me surfing. Speaking of being an utter badass on the ocean, let's talk about Aquaman and when he became so cool. Ho ho ho! You've caught me robbing a home while disguised as Santa Claus. Speaking of Santa Claus, let's talk about artist Jim Lee and where he got his start as an artist. Ho ho ho! Oh, hi, over here. You got me watching Deadly Class. You know, this was created by Rick Remender. You know what? Speaking of Rick Remender, let's talk about Uncanny X-Force. Oh, hi! You caught me adopting stray cats from outside. I guess I'm just sensitive. Hey, speaking of being sensitive, let's talk about Mr. Sensitive and his team, the X-Statics. Oh, hi! You caught me organizing garbage. Speaking of garbage, let's take a look at the worst X-Men run of all time. Oh, hi! You caught me smoking because it's mature and grown up. Speaking of mature and grown up, let's talk about Brat Pack. It's delicious! I'm definitely a smoker. I'm definitely a smoker and... oh, I love smoking. Oh, hola mis amigos. Me atrapaste comiendo comida mexicana. Hablando de eso, hablemos cómic mexicano El Sorprendente Hombre Araña. Oh, hi! You caught me practicing my shape-shifting. Speaking of shape-shifting, let's talk about Marvel Comics shape-shifting Skrulls, and especially how they appeared in the Kree-Skrull War. Diet? Shazam! Oh, hi! You caught me engaging in wish fulfillment. Speaking of that, let's talk about the rise and fall of the Golden Age Captain Marvel by Fawcett Comics. Damn it! Oh, these bags! Oh, hi! You caught me trying to throw out the garbage. Speaking of bags, let's talk about Mark Bagley. You're saying Mountain Lightning is the best? No, my friend. I'm afraid it's Mountain Breeze. No question. Mountain Lightning. Come on. Now that's good. Oh my god. And that's a gun, and I hope you don't really mean anything by it, and... oh! Oh, hi! You caught me learning that I'm immortal. Speaking of immortal, let's talk about the Immortal Hulk. Oh, hi! You caught me wearing sunglasses. In my laziest segue ever, let's talk about the comic book The Men in Black. Oh, hi! You caught me spilling the tea. Speaking of spilling the tea, let's talk about the great Neil Adams and something he did that wasn't so great. How am I supposed to pick up all this fake Mountain Dew and record an episode this week? There's got to be a better way! Oh, hi! You caught me being cloned. Speaking of being cloned, let's talk about the infamous Spider-Man clone saga. Well, it took me all day, but I finally built it and... Oh, hi. You caught me witnessing a train wreck. Speaking of train wrecks, let's talk about Super Green Beret. Hey, new editor, I really need to make sure that episode gets finished by tomorrow. We need to finish editing it ASAP. What? Me worry? Oh my god. You know the deal. Oh, hi! You caught me witnessing half of my collection vanishing. Speaking of hard-to-find comics, let's take a look at some of the more rare G.I. Joe comics this week. Beep, bop, boop. Whew. Oh, that was another tough episode. Oh, hi! You caught me. I've always been wearing a costume. Hey, speaking of costumes, let's take a look at the origins and history of cosplay. Oh, hi! You caught me doing some work out by the barn. Speaking of barns, let's talk about some superheroes that live on a farm. I'm talking about Black Hammer. You missed a spot over there. Oh, hi! You caught me doing some really hard work cleaning things up. Hey, speaking of dirty things, let's talk about The Boys, the comic book, and how the Amazon Prime TV show cleaned it up a bit. Ah, my daily horoscope. You will have your intro interrupted by your opening credits. Oh, hi! You caught me. Oh, hi! You caught me moving. Speaking of moves, let's talk about the moves that Jeff Smith made with his comic Bone. Oh, hi! You caught me going to the movies to see an adaptation of a fantastic comic book, Downton Abbey Comics. But you don't care about that, so let's talk about the Joker. Oh, hi! You caught me making a bad decision. Speaking of bad decisions, let's take a look at some bad comic book tattoo art. Oh, hi! You caught me editing under some turbulent circumstances. Speaking of getting creative works done under tough circumstances, let's talk about Lock and Key. Oh, hi! You caught me catching diseases at a popular convention. Speaking of terrifying things, let's discuss Harrow County. Oh, hi! You caught me committing a major crime. Speaking of crimes, let's talk about crime fiction and the work of Greg Rucka. Don't worry, love. I'm happy to clean up after Halloween. I'll just put this pumpkin away somewhere safe and... Oh, hi! You caught me making a mess and getting my spouse mad at me. Speaking of marital strife, let's talk about Batman, The Long Halloween. Oh, hi! You caught me committing a crime. Speaking of crime, let's talk about the comic book Criminal. Oh, hi. You caught me engaging in furry culture. Speaking of anthropomorphic animals, let's talk about black sad. Oh, hi. You caught me driving through the streets of Tokyo. Speaking of acting like a punk in 2019 Tokyo, let's talk about Akira. Oh, hi! You caught me going through my rebirth. Speaking of rebirth, let's talk about Tom King's run on Batman Rebirth. But when trouble's about, you'd best watch out for the Watchmen. Oh, hi! You caught me engaging in gross commercialization of Watchmen. Speaking of that, let's talk about the sequel to Watchmen, Doomsday Clock. Ow! Oh, hi! You caught me trying to manufacture a dong bag big enough for my big old Johnson. Speaking of reproductive rights, let's talk about the time Spider-Man taught sex education. Oh, hi! You caught me coloring in my original first print edition of Walking Dead. Speaking of ruining things, let's talk about the artist who ruined most of Jack Kirby's art. Oh, hi! You caught me battling a birdemic. Speaking of birds, let's talk about Birds of Prey writer Gail Simone. Oh, hi! You caught me managing all my pills because I'm so old. Speaking of old, let's talk about the platinum age of comics. Hey, Infotron, how's the research on the episode going?
Information overload. I am corrupted.
Infotron? Whoa! Oh, hi! You caught me dealing with a shooter. Speaking of shooter, let's talk about Jim Shooter. Oh, hi! You caught me in a martial arts battle. Speaking of martial arts, let's talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. An ant! Oh, hi! You caught me solving a problem with a stick of dynamite. Speaking of reasonable solutions like this, let's talk about today's superhero, Dynamite Thor. Yeah, hi. I've got a really popular YouTube channel, and I was wondering if you would like me to do an ad for you, and then maybe you'd give me a free car in exchange.
Goodbye, sir.
Oh, hi! You caught me trying to use my influencer status to get something for free. Speaking of influence, let's talk about the most influential comic book of all time. Oh, hey, fellow young person. You caught me getting an avocado for my toast. Speaking of obviously being a millennial, let's talk about young writer Donny Cates. Looking good. Oh, hi! You caught me feeling extreme self-confidence. Speaking of self-confidence, let's talk about a creator who inspires self-confidence in her readers, Raina Telgemeier. Oh, wow, Milo. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Oh, hi! You caught us discovering color. Speaking of color, let's talk about the history of color in comics and the challenges therein. Oh, hi! You caught me extolling the virtues of Denny's. Sorry, what's that? We're talking about Denny O'Neil? Damn it! Oh, hi! You caught me vegging out. Speaking of making bad jokes, let's talk about the Man-Thing run by R.L. Stine. Oh, hi! You caught me using my X-ray specs to observe a local dancer at the comic book store. Hey, speaking of crappy things that they sold in comic books, let's talk about crappy things that they sold in comic books.
Comic tropes. Comic tropes.
Alright, before we go, let's take a look at what fan art came in this week. Finally, Ian Stratton was inspired to create this adorable comic featuring me looking at a comic book called Pancake Man that apparently inspires me to drink an entire bottle of Everclear. Do you want me to die, Ian?